You've probably heard the saying, winners never quit. But here's the truth, no one wants to admit. Most people do. They quit when it gets hard. They quit when no one is watching. They quit not because they're weak, but because they never knew what the strong already understand. There's a reason only 1% keep going when everyone else falls off. And it's not luck. It's not genetics, it's not magic, it's mindset, it's systems. It's knowing a few brutal truths that most people avoid their whole lives. By the end of this video, you'll understand what those truths are. And if you take them seriously, you might just join the 1% who never quit, not because they're fearless, but because they've learned how to keep going even when they're not. Let's dive in. The number one enemy of perseverance isn't failure. It's comfort. Most people don't quit because they're incapable. They quit because they're too comfortable being mediocre. The world we live in is designed for convenience. Fast food, instant gratification, endless scrolling. You don't need to fight for much anymore. And that's exactly the problem. The 1% understand that comfort is a trap. It feels good in the moment, but it slowly eats away at your ambition. The longer you stay comfortable, the harder it becomes to chase anything meaningful. The 1% make a habit of choosing discomfort on purpose. They wake up early when they don't want to. They work when no one is watching. They train when it's raining. They lean into resistance because they know that's where growth lives. Everyone wants change. Few are willing to suffer for it. Motivation is like a spark. It feels powerful, but it fades quickly. The 1% don't wait to feel like doing something. They've trained themselves to act regardless of emotion. They follow discipline, not feelings. This is where most people fall off. They start strong, full of excitement, then disappear after a few weeks. The gym gets boring. The business is harder than expected. The scale won't move, so they stop. They blame their circumstances. They say, maybe this just isn't for me. But the truth is, motivation never lasts. Systems do. The 1% build routines that carry them through the days when they don't feel inspired. They automate their progress. They remove choice from the equation. Going to the gym isn't optional. Working on their goals isn't up for debate. It's part of who they are. Everyone loves the highlight reel, the breakthroughs, the before and after stories. But what most people don't see is the mind-numbing repetition behind those victories. The 1% aren't addicted to results. They're addicted to process. They know success isn't glamorous. It's thousands of hours of boring, thankless effort. Waking up early and doing the same routine, making the same calls, reading the same types of books, repeating the fundamentals until they're second nature. Most people want to be great until they find out what greatness actually costs. The 1% make peace with the monotony. They stop chasing excitement and learn to love the grind. That's why they win. Not because they're more talented, but because they keep showing up after the excitement fades. Here's a hard truth, you're going to fail. Everyone does. But the 1% view failure differently. To most people, failure feels final. It's embarrassing. It bruises the ego. So when it happens, they retreat. They protect themselves. They stop trying. But the 1% treat failure like feedback. They examine it, they study it, they extract lessons and improve. Think about any great athlete, entrepreneur, or creator. They've all failed, often publicly, painfully, and repeatedly. What separates them is how they respond. They don't spiral, they adapt. The difference between average and elite isn't whether you fall, it's how fast you get back up. Most people set goals like this. I want to lose weight, I want to be rich, I want to be productive. But goals like that rely on willpower, and willpower runs out. The 1% don't just chase goals, they build identities. They say, I am the kind of person who trains every day. I am the kind of person who learns constantly. I am the kind of person who doesn't quit. This shift changes everything. Because when it's about identity, your actions start aligning automatically. You stop trying to be disciplined. You simply are. You stop debating whether to work hard. It's just what you do. When quitting is no longer an option, persistence becomes inevitable. One of the biggest reasons people quit is because they want results too fast. We live in a world of instant rewards, but success doesn't work that way. Real progress is delayed. You train for months before seeing physical changes. You work for years before your business takes off. You invest consistently before wealth compounds. The 1% are patient, not because they enjoy waiting, but because they trust the process. They know time is a weapon. They're playing the long game while others are chasing quick wins. And because of that, they eventually pull ahead. While others jump from one shiny goal to the next, they stay consistent, quietly, steadily, relentlessly. And then one day, they wake up successful, and people call it overnight. What you say to yourself matters more than anything someone else could say to you. The 1% monitor their inner dialogue like a hawk. They don't let their thoughts spiral into negativity. When doubt creeps in, they replace it with truth. When fear shows up, they answer it with courage. They speak to themselves like a leader would speak to a team. Firmly, honestly, with belief. Most people sabotage themselves with their own mind. I'm not good enough. This is too hard. What's the point? That internal voice becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. The 1% know their mindset shapes their reality, so they protect it at all costs. They talk to themselves like someone worth fighting for, because they are. Here's something that shocks most people. The 1% don't feel less pain. They don't have fewer struggles. They're not built differently. They've just learned to expect resistance and prepare for it. They assume it's going to be hard. They know they'll face setbacks. They anticipate moments of doubt. So when those moments come, they're not surprised. They're ready. They've trained their mind to treat obstacles as part of the process, not a sign to stop. Everyone wants a smooth road. The 1% accept the bumps. And because they expect the struggle, they push through it while others panic. Arrogance is the silent killer of persistence. The moment you think you've arrived is the moment you stop improving. The 1% stay humble. They know there's always more to learn. Always someone better. Always another level. They stay hungry. Every win is fuel for the next challenge. Every setback is a reminder to sharpen their skills. And they stay grateful. Not in a soft, passive way, but in a grounded, active sense of appreciation. They're thankful for the struggle, for the lessons, for the opportunity to fight for something meaningful. Gratitude keeps them grounded. Hunger keeps them moving. Humility keeps them growing. Here's the bottom line. The 1% aren't superhuman. They've simply made different choices. They've chosen to stay when others leave, to show up when no one's watching, to keep going when it's easier to quit. And now it's your turn. If you want to be among the few who never give up, you don't need to wait for permission. You don't need perfect conditions. You need a reason that's bigger than your excuses, a process that carries you through the hard days, a belief that you're becoming the kind of person who finishes what they start. You won't always feel like it. You'll doubt yourself. You'll want to stop. That's normal. But if you remember what the 1% already know, that discipline beats emotion, that failure is a teacher, and that the path is supposed to be hard, then you 1T just survive the journey. You'll master it, not someday, today. Because once you decide that quitting is no longer an option, success becomes a matter of time.